You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Witches of East End After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Witches of East End After Show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Witches of East End AfterBuzz After Show. I'm your host, Yael, and with me today is Sam Davidson.
Sam Davidson over here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me again.
Of course. Let's jump into this episode, The Brothers Grimoire. Let's start. We'll get to the brothers. Let's start with Wendy, who is making her way with Tommy.
Wendy. Poor Wendy.
Poor Tommy.
I know, but then I feel bad that she feels bad because she thinks it's her. Oh, what a mess.
We see Wendy and Tommy on their first date. Mm-hmm. It's a picnic in the park.
So sweet.
Yeah, and he brings beer because he knows her, which is great. And then a rat interrupts it.
His reaction to the rat is one of my favorite things, honestly.
Yeah.
It's how most guys react to any kind of insect.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen men freak out, act like small children.
It was like a big old rat, and it jumped on his shoulder, and all I could think was like, there's something weird about this rat. It's on your shoulder. Like, how is no one picking up on that? They're all freaking out. No, rat. But like, something's off.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously Wendy, I think Wendy knows something is up.
Yeah.
This isn't just a rat.
Yeah.
It's somebody.
Yeah.
Those shapeshifters.
Ugh. Well, we'll get to the shapeshifters. The rat disappears, but the dates just get worse and worse. And I think my favorite part of the episode is the morning after the first date when Joanna's surprised to see Wendy. Mm-hmm. And Wendy asks her, is this your subtle way of pointing out that I always put out on the first date? And Joanna says, I wasn't trying to be subtle. I take it didn't go well. Best conversation of the whole episode.
Those are sisters that have been sisters for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Those are people that know each other well.
Yeah. So Wendy keeps going out with Tommy. And so first we have the rat. And then they go to the bar. Mm-hmm. And they're shooting darts. And Wendy hits him with a dart. So that was the second date.
Yeah.
Then they're on their way back to his place, and he gets a flat tire. I'm trying to remember the order of the dates, because everything, in my mind, it was just one terrible date where everything that could go wrong went wrong. Mm-hmm. So they get a flat tire. Then they almost get hit by a car.
Yes. And she stops it.
Mm-hmm.
There's forces that are after them.
Yeah.
For sure. Whether it's fate telling them they're not supposed to be together, or more likely an evil force that's trying to make her unhappy.
Maybe. I feel like there's something specific, because the way they met was over that herb book that they were both reaching for and they both wanted. And so I feel like what's happening is somebody knows that if they get together, something will happen. It reminds me of Practical Magic.
I love that movie so much.
Yeah, but that's like such a terrible...
I know. It's...
Because we know what happens in Practical Magic.
Perhaps a spell was put on Wendy by somebody else?
To have her fall in love with Tommy?
Well, that's very Practical Magic-esque, but to just basically fail continuously in really, like... Or specifically on this one, maybe there's something about him that's... Perhaps there's another witch out there that does not want her to have him.
Maybe. Like his ex?
Yeah, maybe as an ex-witch. I don't know.
Well, maybe his ex-wife is a witch.
Yeah.
Well, so after they almost die in the car crash, she waves it away. And they even say, like, the universe is trying to tell us something. Mm-hmm. Yet they continue to ignore it. And they go back to her place, which is weird because she lives with, like, 3 other people.
Yeah.
Right? Like... He has a kid who comes and goes.
It's a big house, though. I mean,
there are a lot of people going in. No, she doesn't live with 3 other people. There are 3 other people that are usually there, plus 2 new ones, Frederick and Victor.
yes.
And then all of Freya's loves coming in and out. I'm just saying, guys, why would you take him back to that place?
Well, maybe it's so they could be protected.
Maybe, because that house is protected. That's a good point. Well, instead she eats peanuts because she's starving. And he's deathly allergic to peanuts.
See, I love this, actually, because I have an allergy myself. I have a latex allergy. We will not get into that on the air.
I will not make the jokes.
I make the jokes, actually. I have made them. But I know what it is like to randomly be like, oh, is there a balloon in this room? And then all of a sudden just run into the corner. It's not. And then when I saw that, I was like, oh gosh. And I know people that have peanut allergies, and it's like they can't do anything. It sucks.
Yeah, I'm surprised that that's what she ended up eating. Like, that was just a weird, it was that or garlic. You're welcome. No, I disagree. There are other things. So they make out. He almost dies. And he leaves. So
She stabs him with an EpiPen.
Yeah. Good. He's alive. But this relationship is definitely interesting. I feel like there's more to it that we're not getting yet. I think there's something about him that we need to know.
But I don't think he's bad necessarily. That's the thing. I don't know. I mean, I think it's kind of a testament to relationships in real life. Like, I've dated guys sometimes, and bad things will just like keep on happening. You're like, there's a sign, like look for a sign, and they're always trying to look for some kind of sign.
I feel like the car coming straight at them, her hitting him with a dart, the peanuts, like this is very clearly that they shouldn't be together.
I guess.
And I don't think he's evil either. I think that there's something like he makes her stronger, or he would save her. I think there's something that would benefit her, that someone is trying to keep them apart. Not necessarily
I think
the universe.
someone or another force that's not the universe is trying to keep them apart. That's not a good force.
Right. Yes. Awesome. I want the fans to tweet us their theories.
Yes.
But let's move on to another gentleman, or pair of gentlemen, the brothers. So Dash and Killian are together, talking, discussing what's happening, discussing Ava and what she's up to.
I thought she was coming, by the way.
Yeah, I thought she was. You mean with him?
Yeah.
She's there somewhere. I thought she is in East End.
But she wasn't in the episode, right?
No, she's somewhere. But we meet Mr. Shane, who is my favorite character. He's the man who drops off the safety deposit box. And they're like, what do we do? And he goes, just a shot in the dark here. But I say, open it. That was, I think, that was my second favorite line of the night.
Yes, he was very blunt.
Yeah, he was hilarious.
Yeah, about their mom and, well, that's a whole other thing. But the way he said it was like, oh, she said great things about you. But no, she didn't.
No,
actually.
I was trying to be polite. So they open the box and they find this thing. It's a tube. It looks like a pipe bomb. That's what it looked like, guys. But it's a tube. And when they both touch it, it opens. And inside we find a scroll that says, I didn't even write what it said in Latin because I'm not going to try. Did you write down what it said in Latin?
I have it memorized in my head.
What is it?
I can't remember.
Excellent. It translates to follow the trail. And I love that Dash is like, it's a metaphor. Like,
Dash is so stupid.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks he's so smart because he's a doctor.
Right. And he's dumb. As soon as they both say it together, the scroll, which is now unrolled, flies over, lands on the ground. They happen to be in the room they needed to be in. Sure. It lights on fire and leaves this mark on the wood. They pick up the wood and find the family Grimoire, which is a spell book. I'm going to be honest, never heard of Grimoire.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've heard of Grimoire. In the Vampire Diaries, they use Grimoire. So I'm quite familiar. I was like, yes, there's a Grimoire in this series.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a thing. I think I might have heard it before that, but it's funny that he knew that very quickly. Because Dash still is not very...
Well, it was Killian who knew it was a grimoire.
Oh, right, because of Ava.
Because Ava's teaching him all about witchcraft.
Yes, and she also is in the Vampire Diaries,
Yes.
coincidentally.
Yeah.
So that's probably where she brought it from, the grimoire.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I grew up with what witches have as a book of shadows. That's where you keep your witch...
Charmed.
Before Charmed, the craft.
Yeah, the craft.
Yeah.
That too.
Sorry. The two of us clearly watch a lot of witch shows. Clearly we love witches. So they open the grimoire, look for a spell, and they decide to do a protection spell. Mm-hmm. And Killian talks about how he's heard of this blood magic and how it's dangerous and whatever. And he's been gone for a few weeks, let's say, because we know that the season premiere is a week.
Right.
That he's been gone. He's married to Ava, and in this time he has discovered he's a warlock, learned all about magic, and she's taught him all this stuff. Yeah?
Yeah, she kind of taught him that. He still, I think, does not know that. And I think he half doesn't believe it completely. Like, I think he knows that he's a warlock, but I'm not really quite sure that he doesn't understand the capacity of his powers.
Yeah. Well, I think now he might.
Now I think he'd run away from them after he almost died.
Yeah. So they decide to use blood magic and do a protection spell, which ends up protecting Dash by taking his life force and killing Killian. And I love the scene where he's like, put your arm in the flame, see if it worked. Like,
what a coincidence.
Yeah. Why would you just put your... Anyway, sorry. Boys are dumb.
Yeah, I think just in general.
Yeah.
Sorry, just kidding.
No offense to
Men
boys watching.
that are watching.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's many.
I'm going to be honest. You know what? Boys are dumb. Men, not as much. I'm going to make that differential there.
Okay.
So the people watching here should be men.
Yes.
And not boys. Because they do say bad words on the show.
Yeah, they do say bad words.
They said the
every
S word.
time. I know. Every time I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
I forgot they could do that on Lifetime.
Well, they hold on to those words and they make sure that it's like, we want you to understand that we're upset.
I think they get a certain amount of them per episode.
Probably.
That'd be cool to have that job to like be like when they're going to use the three
you
bad
can
words.
use this word. I imagine it like a bank. Like here.
Yes.
$20.
Yay.
It's an allowance. So of course when Killian's dying and he coughs up a tooth, which is disgusting.
Ew, yeah.
So Dash calls Ingrid, who is his knight in shining armor.
All of a sudden, yeah.
I like it. I really do. I don't know why. I really like that he's looking to her for help. Mm-hmm. I love it.
It's only natural, you know, for someone that told you what you were in the first place.
Right.
But also, it's his ex-fiance's sister, so it's like...
And he calls his ex-fiancée a lying bitch.
Yeah.
He does, which is hurtful.
Mm-hmm. And he's happy that his brother's alive, but, like, he probably would have wished that Freya was on that boat.
That's so sad.
I know, it's not fair.
He needs to relax and get over it.
Seriously.
Well, before we continue with the story and what happens with Ingrid, I want to take a moment to talk about iTunes. For those who don't know, we do this because we love this show. If you haven't been able to tell yet, we actually really like shows about witches, specifically this one because everyone's really good looking. Mm-hmm. So yes. We do this because we want to and because we love it. So what you can do for us is very simple. Go onto iTunes and YouTube. Go onto iTunes, rate and review us. If you like our show, give us 5 stars. If you don't like our show, give us 4 stars. Leave us comments letting us know what we can do better. If you don't like our show, let us know what we're doing well, because clearly we're doing something right. Yeah? Okay. Leave us comments on YouTube. Also, I join the discussion there. I like to argue with people when they disagree, so feel free to disagree. Let's get back to the show. So Ingrid gets called, and she's like, I'll be right over. But of course, she goes into a trance. So, like, now we understand more about this creature, and it has a name. I found out this weekend at Comic-Con that it's a Mandragora. That is the green creature with the tentacles that assaults her. Yeah.
Sexy. Sexy.
The creature. Ugh. Anyway, the Mandragora, it puts her in a trance and makes her sleepwalk over to it. And then she just, straddles it
Poor girl, that actress. The amount of weird things she has to do sometimes.
You know what? I refer back to our season premiere conversation where I talked about the questions of consent. I don't believe at all that she is consenting. I want that noted.
No, no, absolutely not.
And then we see later on, just to jump ahead real quick, the Mandragora kidnaps a man and assaults it as well. I'm using the A word so I don't use the R word, but it's very much the R word.
He just goes,
yeah.
Scary.
So the Mandragora assaults Ingrid. I just, because of the amount of times I'm saying it, I'm not going to say the R word.
This girl's never going to be the same again. Like, she's going to be one of those characters by season 3, 4. This girl's going to be so far. I mean, so much is going to have happened to her.
It's so terrible. She wakes up. My notes say, Ingrid sleepwalks. F's the green creature. That's what my notes say. Eventually she gets to Dash and Killian, and she helps save Killian.
Yeah, who did not look very good when he was dying.
No, he looked terrible.
It's like CG. What was that? Was that because that was not that actor?
I mean, it was him.
I mean, it was, but they made a good makeup face on him.
Yeah, it was gross.
Yeah,
I did not like it. And then Dash notices after they save Killian that she's got the scratch marks on her back from the Mandragora, because that's what happens when you are assaulted. And he tends to her wounds. Yeah.
Even though couldn't her mom or sister totally heal her with magic?
Yeah. This just in. The Mandragora is a creature in Harry Potter, apparently. Thank you for that knowledge. So the Mandragora is not a new thing? Is it green and have tentacles? Does it... I'm going to keep asking questions till you can speak to us. Does it assault women?
Well, in Harry Potter, they use the Mandragora as the, it's the plant that, like, can scream when you pull it out of the roots.
Oh, I mean, this creature is very plant-like.
Yeah, and then, it can actually have the screaming ability, but they use it for, like, I believe, serums to help. In the Harry Potter reference, they use the serum, I believe, that to help reverse the effects of, like, the, petrification in that.
So maybe it's good.
You think
it's good? They're usually used for good.
Oh.
Well, not when it's
Well, maybe they're just trying to throw us off. That's his way of saying hello.
Creative license. I'm sure it's a little bit different.
Well, so, I mean, what we've seen of the Mandragora is that it needs her to do what she does to it, to feed the Mandragora, right? Ingrid is feeding it. She even says, do you need me to feed you? And I guess what we saw at the end was it needed more to eat, so it ate some guy.
Poor guy.
Yeah. Gross. Thank you for the Harry Potter references. I
think that was very useful because perhaps it's a twist and it's not weird, gross, and bad. I mean, it's weird and gross, but perhaps not bad. I don't think it is a bad creature. I think it's going to be revealed that it is good because Ingrid is good. Yeah, but Ingrid has a lot of bad things happen to her.
Right. I just think that it's assaulting her.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he should be told some manners, for sure.
He should be... Consent! Sorry to harp on this, but consent, people. It's really important. Okay, so the main story of the episode, we find out that where Victor is. He's being held captive. We find out by who? By the twins, Ivar and Isis. Isis, who I referred to as the rat lady in my notes, and Creeper is... Ivar. And they've been tracking portals to this world because what we learn is that Ivar and Isis were friends with Frederick and Freya, and they did some bad things. Possibly Frederick did the bad things and they took the fall for it. That's still unclear, even though they said it. And Ivar and Isis were banished to our world. Correct.
Yes.
Okay. So... Then we also find out that apparently in Asgard, twincest is a thing that is, I guess, acceptable.
So, I'm sorry, I just need to break in here. My
Yeah.
big question while watching this was like, were Freya and Frederick a thing? Like
That's what I'm asking. Because Freya seems horrified, and Frederick says to her, well, I mean, understandably, she seems horrified. And Frederick is like, no, we would never do that because they are, I want to find the word, shape-shifting bottom feeders. So apparently these people, the Creeper and Rat Lady, are the lower class. Because we know that the Beauchamp family is royalty.
Yes, because their last name is Beauchamp.
Right.
Yeah.
Which means you have to be royal.
Duh.
And they've kidnapped Victor because they want Frederick to bring them the key to get them through the portal back to Asgard. And we find out that there's this plan that's been hatched and that everyone's going to die except for them. But Frederick meets Ivar in the library and kills him while Isis kidnaps Freya, takes her underground to where Victor is being held. And if they don't bring the key, she's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh, this was awful.
I mean, Frederick doesn't even reveal to... he doesn't tell Joanna, she finds out.
He just needs to start being honest.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I mean, everyone knows, it is very clear that I don't trust him. And even in this episode where we learn more about him, we learn that he was kind of a rebellious kid, and that.
But so is Freya.
But so is Freya, which doesn't surprise us at all. But because she's like the badass, right?
I can think of another word, but
What's the other word?
starts with a loot, or ends with a loot, starts with an S. I don't know. She's a bit promiscuous, Miss Freya. I like her because what does Freya also mean in Freya means she's a goddess actually in like goddess terms. I have goddess cards.
Okay.
And Freya is one of them, and she's the one of love. Mm-hmm. So she does very easily fall in love
Right.
and out of love, but she's not bad. She's
Right.
just likes to have fun.
I think that Freya and Frederick were the like mischievous troublemakers in Asgard. Because I think we still see her. She's kind of a mischievous troublemaker. We can tell by her edgy look and whatever. And she does take after Wendy a lot, who falls in love easily, as you say.
Yes.
And Frederick, I don't know if I think that he's just, mischievous and playful, or if I think that he's actually evil. And I think this episode has just made it even harder.
Me too, because last week I was very much on Team Frederick.
Yeah.
As you remember, I was like, he has to be good, but then he just kept on lying this week.
Yeah.
And if you've made mistakes in the past, just fess that to them. I think he was bad, and now he's trying to be good,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're getting an incoming message. Freya is a Norse god. Thank you. A goddess.
Yes,
Sorry.
Norse goddess.
Yes. I love getting all of our stuff confirmed. Thanks.
I know.
Thank you, Booth, today. So Freya's been kidnapped as well. She's being held hostage. And we hear Iris talking to Freya, and she says to her that Frederick is the sickest of all. Because Freya's like, you and your brother are sick. And she says, Frederick is the sickest of all. Which, I mean, yes, they are bad people, but he was their friend at some point.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
I mean, I think he threw them under the bus.
Yeah.
And now he's trying to pretend to be somebody else.
That's what I think as well. Luckily, Joanna arrives and sees Victor all beaten up. Oh, Victor, all beaten up, on the verge of death.
And he just came back into their lives as they can remember.
Yeah.
It's devastating.
And Victor and Frederick haven't even seen each other. And Freya is on some chair, and Joanna waves her free, but she can't get up because if she gets up, they'll all die. So there's a sand clock thingy.
Spell bomb, I don't know.
Sure. There's a spell bomb. And if she gets up, they'll all die. Or if the time runs out, they'll all die. So the options are, and I love this, the options are we leave Freya, she's going to die and be reborn, or they switch Victor and Freya's places because he's already on the verge of death, that he will stay and Freya and Joanna will leave. What did you think was going to happen?
First off, I was very confused because if Freya was reborn, then, like, would you just... there'd be a random baby that came? I mean, if she died.
If she died, Joanna would become pregnant.
And then
they'd raise another Freya.
Okay. Of course it was selfless. It was what, like, any father, parent would do. It was so sad because we've barely seen them interact at all.
Yeah.
With, you know, his children. Mm-hmm. I actually really wish that he was a bigger part, that he either came in earlier last season or was in more of the first few episodes of this season, because I do feel the pain of him being gone, but it made me even more sad because they didn't seem to have enough of a relationship with him. I
agree completely. I really wish we would have had more of him and the family this season. Personally, I love that actor, and I want him to be in the show. And so to see him leave really makes me sad. But as a character, I feel like we barely got invested in him because he showed up. He was kind of a big deal. There was a mystery. Who is he? And then this season, he like went off to the Amazon, just came back and was kidnapped and died.
I honestly feel like it must have been a weird actor thing. Like he had another commitment to go to because it didn't make that much sense.
Yeah, I agree. So Ivar's dead. Isis is alive. That's something that isn't really touched upon at the end of the episode, but Isis is alive. And Victor's dead. That makes me so sad.
But, I mean, still in this series, we aren't really quite sure what dead means.
Right. That's true. I don't know, because then we see how Joanna's dealing with it, and she's very upset. She tells Frederick she doesn't want to see him. He leaves to wander the city alone.
And make random friends that apparently he says he's made.
Yeah. And we see the Mandragora attack the stranger, and Freya is heartbroken. Killian comes to her, and they embrace, and she's crying.
But was Killian about to, like, fight with her?
I think he was there to yell at her.
Be like, are you really a witch? Are you joking me?
Like, how come you didn't, how come you didn't tell me? How come you didn't help me through it? Ingrid's helping Dash. I think he was ready to fight her.
Yeah. And then once she says, my dad died,
right,
then, you know.
Of course. You're not going to be like, we'll talk about that later. You're a jerk. On that note, let's go into some news.
AfterBuzz TV News.
For those who don't follow us on Twitter, you're missing out because I was at San Diego Comic-Con this last weekend and got to interview the cast of Witches of East End. And you can check out those interviews online. I will tweet those out again. That's where we found out that it's called the Mandragora. They let that slip. And Rachel Boston, who plays Ingrid, teased a little bit more about her and Dash, what's happening with Dash and Ingrid. We also found out from Machen, who plays Aunt Wendy, that Tommy and her are not over yet just after this, and that there'll probably be some, how did she put it, some naughty time.
Ooh.
Yeah.
There's bound to be some candle wax gone bad there, for sure.
Knowing them, it'll be candle wax gone real bad. So you should check those out. I'll make sure to tweet those out. But also, for those who missed it, Machen was in the studio here for a spotlight on at AfterBuzz, so we will make sure that that gets tweeted out as well. And on that note, let's head over to predictions.
Ooh.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, Sam. So much to talk about.
Okay.
What do you think?
All right. Well, first of all, I for sure see some Ingrid and Dash, you know, like maybe like an accidental kiss, be like, oh, no, we can't. No, we can't.
But we can.
But let's maybe next episode. You know, Killian and Eva, she's coming back. I'm, you know, she's there for most of the season.
Yeah.
It's going to be a weird triangle between Freya and them. But Freya and Killian, I think, it's one of those love at first sights. It's kind of adorable.
Love at first dream.
Yeah, that's actually what. Yeah, and I don't know. I think that Frederick is going to continue to get worse, even though I don't want to believe it, because it's sad. Because honestly, I think twins are very attached and they're connected, and so that would mean like bad things for Freya.
Yeah.
I kind of see them one in between, so I'm not sure. And I don't know. I'm still brewing up here.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
I like it. I think Dash and Ingrid definitely continuing. Killian and Freya will eventually get back together by the end of the season. I think the Mandragora needs to be explained and quick. That's what I want. And I hope that that's done within the next 2 episodes. And I think that we haven't met the last of those who came through the portal. I think we've got a lot more to meet. And I hope we get to see Asgard. That's what I want to see. Yeah.
I feel like that could be the end of this season, actually, them going into Asgard. I could see that as a really cool thing. As all of a sudden, like, the portal's opening and then the season ending as they're going in.
Yes. Let's see that.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
We're going to Asgard.
All right, Sam, tell the people where they can find you online.
You can find me on Twitter at SamD43 and on Instagram at SamDavidson87.
Awesome. And you can find me online at yael.tv. That's YAEL.tv. There you will find the interviews for the cast of Witches of East End at San Diego Comic-Con. You can also find me on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Google Plus at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. And we will see you next week for more Witches of East End.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Brown People
The views expressed
Edition.
herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.